Ethics is the philosophical study of right and wrong, often referred to as moral philosophy. It encompasses three major branches: metaethics, which explores the nature and meaning of moral judgments and asks questions like, what does good actually mean? Normative ethics, which focuses on developing standards and principles for behavior, and applied ethics, which uses these theories to address real-world dilemmas. In criminal justice, applied ethics is particularly important because professionals must navigate complex situations where legal rules alone do not provide clear guidance. Understanding these distinctions helps practitioners recognize the theoretical underpinnings of their decisions and ensures that their actions align with broader moral principles rather than mere procedural compliance. Studying ethics in criminal justice is essential because professionals in this field wield extraordinary authority, including the power to detain individuals, use force, and make decisions that profoundly affect lives. Laws and regulations cannot anticipate every scenario, leaving room for discretion, a space where personal moral judgment becomes critical. Ethical training equips practitioners to make principled choices under pressure, fostering integrity and fairness. Moreover, public trust in the justice system hinges on the perception that its agents act ethically. Without this trust, legitimacy erodes, and compliance with the law diminishes. Thus, ethics is not an abstract concept, but a practical necessity for maintaining justice and societal stability. Ethical relativism posits that moral standards vary across cultures and individuals, suggesting that what is considered right in one society may be wrong in another. This perspective promotes tolerance but raises challenges in condemning practices universally deemed harmful. In contrast, ethical absolutism asserts that certain moral principles are immutable and universally applicable, such as prohibitions against murder or torture. The tension between these views is significant in criminal justice, where global norms intersect with local practices. For instance, debates over capital punishment or corporal punishment often hinge on whether morality is culturally relative or universally binding. Ethical pluralism comes in striking the balance between relativism and absolutism by championing a diverse array of core moral principles while firmly rejecting the notion that anything goes. It encourages understanding and tolerance of cultural differences but insists on opposing clear injustices. This approach is practical in diverse societies, where criminal justice professionals must respect cultural contexts without compromising core human rights. Pluralism emphasizes dialogue and critical thinking, guiding practitioners to balance empathy with moral courage when confronting practices that violate universal standards of dignity and fairness. Religion has historically shaped moral frameworks through doctrines like divine command theory, which holds that morality is determined by God's will. This raises philosophical questions such as whether actions are good because God commands them or if God commands them because they are inherently good. In criminal justice, personal faith often influences professionals' sense of duty and justice. However, in a pluralistic society governed by secular law, ethical reasoning must transcend individual religious beliefs to ensure fairness and inclusivity. Understanding this dynamic helps professionals navigate conflicts between personal convictions and institutional obligations. Natural law theory asserts that certain moral principles are inherent in human nature and discoverable through reason. Thinkers like St. Thomas Aquinas argued that any human law contradicting these principles is unjust. This concept underpins foundational democratic ideals, such as the belief in unalienable rights expressed in the Declaration of Independence. In criminal justice, natural law provides a basis for challenging laws that, while legally valid, violate fundamental human dignity. It reinforces the idea that legality does not always equate to morality, urging professionals to consider higher ethical standards when enforcing or interpreting laws. Policing presents numerous ethical challenges, from decisions about whom to stop or search to the use of force in volatile situations. Officers exercise significant discretion, and their choices often reflect personal values and departmental culture as much as legal mandates. Ethical dilemmas arise in practices like racial profiling, surveillance, and community engagement. These decisions carry profound consequences for civil liberties and public trust, making ethical training and accountability mechanisms essential for law enforcement agencies. In courts, ethical concerns center on fairness, truthfulness, and equality. Lawyers must balance zealous advocacy with honesty, while judges bear the responsibility of impartiality and consistency in sentencing. Corrections introduces additional complexities, such as determining the purpose of punishment, rehabilitation versus retribution, and safeguarding prisoner rights. Ethical lapses in these areas can lead to miscarriages of justice and systemic harm, underscoring the need for clear standards and vigilant oversight. Ethics extends beyond individual actions to encompass policy decisions that shape the criminal justice system. Policies like the war on drugs, capital punishment, and mass surveillance reflect societal values and priorities. Evaluating these choices requires weighing their intended benefits against unintended harms, such as mass incarceration or erosion of privacy. Ethical policymaking demands transparency, empirical evidence, and a commitment to human rights, ensuring that laws serve justice rather than perpetuate inequality or fear-driven agendas. Media plays a powerful role in shaping public perceptions of crime and justice. Sensational coverage and entertainment portrayals often distort reality, fueling fear and bias. Phenomena like the CSI effect influence jury expectations, while selective representation reinforces stereotypes. Criminal justice professionals must remain aware of these dynamics, advocating for accurate information and resisting pressures that compromise ethical standards in pursuit of public approval or political gain. In summary, ethics forms the foundation of justice, guiding decisions from street-level encounters to legislative chambers. Core themes such as discretion, authority, and public trust permeate every aspect of the criminal justice system. Developing ethical maturity is an ongoing process that requires reflection, education, and courage. Professionals must strive not only to know the law but to apply it with integrity, ensuring that justice is administered fairly and humanely. Ultimately, the legitimacy of the system depends on its adherence to ethical principles that uphold dignity and equality for all.